Well, thank you very much for attending this morning. I think we have an opportunity to do something very, very, very special. Well, I'd like to acknowledge David Anderson. Would you come up then?
Good morning. It's good to be here. I'm Dave Anderson, and I just want to tell you just briefly the story of Safe Families. And the story of Safe Families is really about, in some ways, about my story. I grew up the son of a bricklayer. In fact, college wasn't important to my folks. My dad bribed my daughter with a car and said, if you don't go to college, I'll give you a car. And so he didn't know what to do with me. He said, whatever you do, don't be a bricklayer. Well, so I became a psychologist instead, and bricklayers, don't really understand psychologists. He still doesn't tell his friends what I do for a living. But my dad taught me two things. He is a man of faith, and he taught me two things, even though we didn't have money. He said, what is ours is not ours. The things we have do not belong to us. That when we're called upon periodically, we need to share what we have and hold on to what we have with an open hand. And then he taught me something about our home and our family. And he said, our family isn't for us or about us. That God gave us a family for a reason. We need to discover what that reason is. And we need to look at our home not as a place of refuge and restoration, but we need to look at our home as something different. How can we use our home, our family, for any reason you want? Any reason. One day this mom came up to me and said, Dr. Anderson, I'm in a bit of trouble right now. The state's coming after me, and they're going to get my kids because there are some things that I need to change, and I'm not able to change when I'm taking care of my kids. Is there any way you can help me? And I'm like, I'm sorry. If you abuse your kids, we'll be glad to help you because that's the way our systems are set. And I said, I'm sorry, we can't help you. We only take in kids who are foster kids and things like that. And she said to me, I remember she grabbed my arm. She said, you don't understand. I cannot leave here with my kids. I'm in a bit of trouble. I need you to take them from me. Can you just watch them until I can get back on my feet? That was a defining moment for me. And so I went ahead and we started this idea. It's this idea that we can find families to take in children of a parent who is going through a hard time. We screen and approve them just like you would foster care. The parent decides, I need my kid in a safe family. They decide, I'm ready for my kid to be back. No money, no coercion, no exchange of anything. We don't do adoption. You have your kid back when you're ready. And we'll take them as long as you want and for any reason you want. Any reason. That if we truly, in our communities, value kids enough, we should have a safe place for a child for whatever reason a parent has. It doesn't matter. You're going to drug treatment, fine. You're homeless, fine. You're depressed and overwhelmed, fine. We'll take them in. And I knew as doing research in this area that when someone is under coercion, you have to do this. We're taking against your will. The natural response is to buck and to say, And so when you have coercion and money in the equation, there's often not a positive relationship that is established. So I thought, what if we take those two things out? What if we take money out of the equation? What if we take coercion out of the equation? And we allow moms to come to us and say, we'll take your kids, we'll have someone to watch them for you. They're not getting paid, by the way. They're not getting paid. They're covering all expenses themselves. And we don't want your kid. When you're ready, you have them back. We don't do adoption. We'll just care for you until you're ready. And so we found that in the handful, I started off with mine, and it was an incredible positive relationship between our family and this mom. I met with this guy, Jerry Slomka, and I told him my idea I could find hundreds of families to do this. Many of them are going to be people of faith because we're all called to do more than just go to church on Sunday and that's it. And they're going to do this, and none of them are going to want money for it, and we're going to find hundreds of people. And he said to me, Dr. Anderson, that's the best idea I've ever heard in my career. But then he said, it'll never, ever work. Don't bother wasting your time. I'm like, why is that? Why I want to work? If it's a good idea, why I want to work? He said, children just aren't valuable in our society. They're not. They're not. We can't even pay people to take in kids. We're giving them money, and we can't even pay people to take in kids and do a good job doing that. That's what communities are for. That's what neighbors are for, caring for one another, raising kids. We're not taking the place of parents. That's not our job. We talk about, instead of substituting parents, our view is, let's supplement them. Let's come alongside of them. I don't need to adopt your child. I could still love your child just like you love your child, and I don't want your child, but I could come alongside and help you with your child. And we call it supplementary care. Let's not substitute them. Let's supplement them. Let's have people come alongside of them. When you look at our generation, we are the most selfish generation in history. We have more, we make more than our parents did and every generation before us, but we give less and we do less than any other generation in history. Too often, help has become a commodity that people buy, not what they do. Isn't that true? My daughter was 7 when we first started taking in kids, and I remember talking to her about materialism. She didn't understand what that meant. She said, "You have too much, Audrey." She still didn't understand what that meant. She still wanted more. Until we took in a little 5-year-old girl. The only thing she had was in this little brown paper bag, and she had 2 dresses and nothing else. And without me even saying anything to her, she came up to me and said, "Daddy, look at what I have and look what she has, and there's something wrong about that. Do you mind if I give her some of these things that I have so we could be a little bit more equal?" Isn't that the way we need to learn from our kids? We need to be a little bit more equal. There's so many things in my house that are extra to me. There's a bed that no one has slept on in 6 years. Yet there's a family right down the road that is putting her kids to bed on the floor. My wife and I cared for 2 little kids right now, a 2 and we have actually a 4-year-old. And his family was burned out of an apartment where his brother got burned, and the state was going to take custody of all 6 kids. They were they were at court ready to go into the system until someone said, "What about safe families?" They called, and because of this thing called U-Share we created, it's a system of getting needs and people, within minutes, we had homes for all 6 kids. Minutes. That's the power of a caring community.
That's the point this morning. We as a community have to be always there. We can't be saying, "Renee, you do it. Anna, now that you're the mayor, you do it. Chief Justice, you do it." No, 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 no. It is the community. It is the community that must do it. The community must do it. The community must do it. And that's what we're going to do. Dave gave that message so loud and clear. The thing that I like to come back onto is when Norm Gruber is going to hire 130-plus doctors at the hospital here, what happens when they Google Mid-Willamette Valley? Let them see a community that takes care of their own. Let them see the best of us. And that's what Safe Families is all about. Thank you very much for coming this morning. Thank you.